to this episode of CNMI Weekly, where we take a look at the CNMI Decision 2024 coverage and the winners of that election. First up, let's take a look at what Election Day looked like here in the NMI. We're here in Cagman, where you can see behind me the music is booming, and there is a very festive mood here as Democrats, Republicans, and Independents come together with a united message, which is to get out and vote. Of course, the CNMI has over 18,000 registered voters, and over the last week of early voting, about 5,000 of them came out. And here's a look at the polls throughout the day here on Saipan as we spoke with voters about what motivated them to come out and vote.
It's not just this election, it's every election is important. People always want change, and the only way to enact change or to make sure that things are the way they are is by going to the polls and vote. So if you're at home right now and you didn't register to vote, you better come out and vote next election. If you're already registered and you're thinking about not voting this year, you need to come out and vote. It is your civic duty, and the entire CNMI population needs to come out and vote. Please come out and vote.
Of course, make every vote count. It's very important to go cast your vote. You want them to hear you, so go out and cast your vote too, right?
Oh, today is a very important day. You have to exercise your right to vote and choose the right candidate for this coming years ahead of us. We need somebody who can, bring our economy back and make our lives a little bit more better here in Marianas.
Well, I think it's important. I'm personally interested in just seeing what Election Day is like here, the differences and similarities with the mainland, just because I'm curious about it. As far as its significance, I think that it's very important for the NMI. It's been a long time since there's been a change in delegate. Obviously, the elected officials here have a lot of control over the day-to-day lives, and I'm just, I'm not weighing in on one side or the other. I'm just intrigued by what it looks like whenever there's an election in America's newest jurisdiction. It's exciting.
It's just like, every other election, we just have to vote, exercise our right?
What issues matter? What do you care about the CNMI?
The health and education. That's the most important thing. And the CUC, they need to address it.
Well, it matters because you have freedom of speech, your right to vote, and say what you want to say. Maybe improve the economy. We need tourism industry to increase, for that matter, and other things that we might improve.
Well, I guess I just want to say thank you for voting. Your voice is so important, and getting yourself and your family and everyone else in your community out is really important to making sure that our voices are heard, because the decisions that are made affect everyone.
I think what's important is that I'd like to see a lot of the, not just our candidates, but those that are running independent in opposition of this administration, because we really do need a change of direction as soon as possible. And this is the only thing that we can do is this election and vote for the right people to make those changes.
And there are several key races to watch, including the delegate to the U.S. House of Representatives between Ed Probst, a Democrat, Independent Liana Hofschneider, Republican Kimberlyn King-Hines, Independent James Rafin, and Independent John Gonzalez. Each island also has one Senate seat up for grabs on Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. The Saipan Board of Education seat is also up for grabs, with 2 spots available amid a 5-way race, and there's 1 judge up for retention. And now to our story about the results of the CNMI Decision 2024 race. Here's more. Republican Kimberlyn King-Hines dominated the race for NMI delegate, garnering 40% of the vote. Less than 12 hours after her victory, King-Hines shared her plans to improve the economy with the media outside of her home on Saipan.
The first is to restore the tourism industry. Second, to immediately work on the CW situation, which is about to end here in 2029. And 3, work on trying to improve the cost of living by addressing the utilities issue.
Her victory is historic. She's the first female, the first person from Tinian, and the first Republican to take the seat.
I hope that, the young girls and young boys too across the Commonwealth can see me and use me as an example that, no matter how hard your life has been or, what adversities you face growing up, if you work hard and you have a goal and you work towards that goal, that nothing is impossible.
King Hines maintained her lead in the five-way race through the night as each district's votes were counted. Before dawn, Democrat Ed Probst wrote on Facebook, "Congratulations to Kim King Hines, delegate-elect. I wish you the very best." Independent John Gonzalez said in a statement, "I wish you all the best in your next chapter as you faithfully and diligently work to improve the lives of our people, especially the marginalized." Independent James Raven said, "The voters have spoken. We wish you all the very best." And Independent Liana Hofschneider expressed her gratitude for her supporters. Incumbents in the Saipan and Rota Senate races were unseated. Democrat Manny Castro earned nearly 53% of the vote, beating Senate President Edith de Leon Guerrero, an independent. Castro said his win is a reflection of the tireless efforts of so many who believe in the promise of a brighter, stronger Commonwealth. Longtime Rota Senator Paul Manglona suffered a major defeat by Ronnie Calvo, an educator and first-time candidate.
I've learned a lot throughout this journey, and I feel excited and look forward to helping our Commonwealth, with its successful development.
You can watch the full press briefing with King Hines on KUAM News' YouTube channel, and full election results for all races can be found on KUAM.com. Thomas Manglona, KUAM News, Saipan. And just after the results were announced for the CNMI delegate race, we spoke with CNMI delegate-elect Kimberlyn King Hines. Here's that conversation. All right, Kim, first of all, congratulations. You want to just give your brief intro as the community hears from you through the press for the first time?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank everybody who came out to vote. Elections are a way in which we as a community determine a direction. And when I started off this journey and I started whittling down the priorities, one of, the things that I shared with the community that I wanted to focus on was the economy. And so I also came out and said that it was going to be a three-pronged approach. The first is to restore the tourism industry. Second, to immediately work on the CW situation, which is about to end here in 2029. And three, work on trying to improve the cost of living by addressing the utilities issue. Elections are mandates, and the people have decided to pick me as the team captain for the CNMI at the federal level, and that's the game plan. But aside and separate from that, I would like to be the type of delegate that consistently engages community stakeholders. So I would like to, in short order here, after things get a little bit settled down, just start reaching out to different stakeholders in the community to sit down and have a conversation about where gaps are, where are areas of opportunities, and work out a plan where we're not duplicating resources or manpower, and just strategizing on how to bring a whole of government approach to some of these health and human services issues that is impacting our community.
Kim, I wanted to also just take a moment to acknowledge the history that you made. First woman, also first from Tinian, I believe.
Yeah.
And first Republican.
Yeah.
Do you have any reflections on the history that you made with your win?
To be honest, right now I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It's been a long campaign journey, and that never crossed my mind throughout this process, and I think it never crossed my mind because I grew up watching my mom become the first, one of the first, her and Auntie Darling Agumaro, serving in the first CNMI legislature. And so, I didn't think that, I didn't feel that this was about me as a woman, but I do believe that one of the reasons why I am here is the fact that so many women came out to support and wanted to feel that sense of empowerment. And to that end, I hope that, the young girls and young boys too across the Commonwealth can see me and use me as an example that, no matter how hard your life has been, or, what adversities you face growing up, if you work hard and you have a goal and you work towards that goal, that nothing is impossible.
All right, I know we're not even 12 hours out from the certification of the results, but can you tell us what the last few hours have been like? I understand you've been getting a lot of calls, and what the timeline is, because it's going to move fast. You're going to get in January. Right?
Yeah, it is moving fast, actually. So, well, I went and took a short nap, and I couldn't sleep because the phone was ringing off the hook. I woke up to about 250 messages and about 70 missed calls, and so I got up and started returning calls and messages. And I've had several federal officials call, and so I had to return those calls and just begin that dialogue and conversation. So the work is starting now in terms of reaching out to our federal partners and having these conversations about what the priorities are. The governor also reached out and gave his congratulations, and I told him that we're going to have to sit down to discuss what his priorities are and how this position can assist for him to be able to accomplish some of those priorities, and to also assist with the follow-ups for the 902 consultation and make sure that stays as a hot topic agenda item that needs to be addressed, because I do believe that those are very critical issues that need to be addressed. And election is over. We all work for the people. We have to put politics aside, and I'm reaching across all the aisles to be able to have those conversations.
Can you tell us, so are you able to disclose your schedule? You're already going to be in DC in a matter of weeks, right?
So actually, preliminarily, they've sent out a schedule, and once the House receives the certification from the Election Commission, the work to prepare travel, which is set for the 12th through the 22nd to do orientation work. So that's already on the schedule. This afternoon, I'll be out at the Garapan Fishing Basin to, just do a roadside waving to show the people of the Commonwealth my appreciation. And Friday, I head down the road to do the same. And Saturday, I head down to Tinian to do the same, and to spend a little bit of time with the family before I come back up and get myself situated to get to work.
I don't know if it's too premature, but I know a lot of the questions we're already getting is who's going to be on your staff. So do you mind just indulging the public maybe on what your plans are there?
Well, I'll say this, I believe in continuity. Continuity is very important to ensure that the work that has been done and the institutional knowledge that has been laid is not thrown out. That's very important, I think, to the success of any delegate being able to just hit the ground running. And so I have been in communications with one of Congressman Kilili's key staffers that have expressed their interest in, continuing to stay on and to be a part of the mission to level up the CNMI. So I'm really excited about that.
And I saw on your Facebook earlier today, you went live, I think, and you said it was a relatively peaceful election. Did you want to just explain? So you believe that?
Yeah, well, I think this past several election cycles has been just so nasty, right, in terms of the way that, we campaign. And one of the things that I, really expressed to the team is that that's not what we're going to do. We want to be uplifting. We want to remain focused on what it is that we're trying to accomplish, and I think it's counterproductive and really just hypocritical to go out there and be mudslinging, right? If you're not focusing on the policies that you want to implement and the work that you're offering to the people, then you're not talking about how to be a part of the solution. And this election was really nice in the sense that, you know, there wasn't much of that. Obviously, people are going to have different opinions. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But, you know, regardless of whether people voted for me or not, I'm here to serve everyone, and that's exactly what I intend to do.
And here's more of our conversation with the CNMI delegate-elect, Kimberlyn King-Hines.
You only have, 2 years to do, the work, and then another, be election again. So, what is your top priority, starting when you start?
Well, as I've stated, it's the economy, right? And one of the things that I've been, working on even before this election is trying to restore Annex 6. We need to open up all markets. And, folks are saying that, hey, there's nothing that's stopping tourists from China from landing now. But the truth of the matter is that without direct flights that is allowed by restoring Annex 6, folks are not going to come here. They're going to go, from what we've been hearing from travel agents, is that most of the folks who want to come out here to vacation have to, fly 8 hours from wherever their location is to Korea just to be able to get here. So, it's not very competitive, right? They're going to go look at shorter destinations, destinations where there are more amenities, more things to do, and we just can't compete at that level at this moment. And so, the tourism industry has been the bread basket of the CNMI, and I do agree that we also need to diversify the economy, but we can't just throw out the baby with the bathwater and say, oh, we're just going to focus on what's happening now with the military, or let's wait and find or create a new industry. We got to fix, remove the barriers right now that's stopping our tourism industry from fully thriving, and that's the focus. And I'm not waiting until I get sworn in to start working on that. I've been reaching out to folks within the Department of Transportation and and the folks from Chamber and HandMe. We just got to work together and just figure out how to get it restored.
Kim, do you expect any kind of pushback from your mission of creating a special legislation, like for example pushing for Annex 6 or any kind of a tourism legislation? Do you anticipate any kind of pushback from federal officials, from the states?
The last communications I saw that was shared with me was communications between the Senate and Department of Transportation saying that CPA's application, which we submitted during my time there as chair, is still under consideration. And that communication was sometime in October, late October. And so, that tells me that that application is still viable, right? But I think what we've been doing as a Commonwealth is, we're sending mixed messages, right? And, there has been some pushback with regards to the from the administration in terms of, fighting or advocating to restore Annex 6. But, I campaigned on that platform. And I intend to deliver, because it is critical, not just for the tourism industry, but for every single person who calls these islands home, because that is where we get our money, and that's the fastest way. And while as we work on that, we need to start talking about how do we actually diversify the economy given our current situation and the conditions of our islands. And so I don't know what the pushback would be, but I have not heard from the federal partners that I have not heard from the federal partners in terms of this conversation that we're having locally, that it's a national security concern, right? Chinese tourists are going to California, to places where there are actual bases. There are no bases here. So, but if there is some pushback, then, well, that's the job of the delegate to push back.
In regards to the CW comment that you just mentioned, you want to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in for extension, or do you?
I want a whole new program. I mean, if the fastest route basically to keep the program intact is extending the program, let's do that. But I think what we need to do is revamp it so that it is CNMI friendly, right? These processing times are taking too long. We need boots on the ground to be able to do the temporary labor certifications, and folks are not waiting. That's just unacceptable. Whatever that policy is going to look like, it has to consider the economic conditions, and that conversation needs to be had with our federal partners who agree, right, that we do need to address this issue.
Would you advocate that all these decisions, CWs, maybe granting visa, should be done here locally? We have an office here that is just being done for interview.
Exactly.
So why can't we utilize that particular office for a localized kind of like decision-making process for
right.
this particular workforce?
I do believe that we need to, right, empower our local Department of Labor, who works closely with USDOL, to be able to actually do the processing here. And that has to come with funding, right? And so that is something that I definitely support. And I hope to be able to check off the list.
Anything in closing for the public to know?
Not really. I just want to really say thank you, CNMI, for believing that we as a Commonwealth are capable, and we as a Commonwealth are worthy of the fight. And, some of these federal policies just simply do not work out here, and it is impacting our economy. And, we're going to work hard. The work has already begun, and I hope to be able to continue to have these conversations with all of you on a regular basis, because the job of the delegate is to be your voice, and I cannot do it. I cannot do it alone. I need everybody's help. I need everybody to level up, to come and have a seat at the table, to have these conversations, and I need the media as well to help in terms of disseminating information and to get the word out in terms of what it is that we're trying to do, and just rally the community to be able to focus on priorities so that we can rank them in order, because obviously we have a very short time, right? And so we all kind of have to agree on what are the priority items and begin to immediately address those.
And as we wrap up this episode of CNMI Weekly, we speak with outgoing NMI delegate who has served 8 terms in Congress, NMI delegate Gregorio Kilili Camacho Sablan.
Coming into the election, Tomas, even the day before the election, I left Saipan. I thought Ed was going to win, and in any event, if Ed was not going to win, it was going to be very close. But I guess not. I'm also, disappointed there. But our people have spoken.
The NMI's first delegate to U.S. Congress endorsed fellow Democrat Ed Probst early on in the race, hoping the local House lawmaker would replace him after a historic 8 terms. Sablan told KUAM News that he called Delegate-elect Kimberlyn King Hines a Republican and offered his full cooperation for a smooth transition. That transition comes amid a red wave in national politics that could benefit the incoming Republican delegates in advancing their agenda.
We have yet to see how House majority is going to turn out, but even that, it's looking like it's going to be a Republican whole of government for the next 2 years at least. I think Ms. Hines' agenda was economy, our economy, bringing in more tourists. That's something we can all support.
As our local race ended, the race for the White House followed. Sablan, who is currently in D.C., said there is an increase in security amid the national results.
I was here in January 6th, Thomas. There was a lot of violence, but there's none tonight. Hope this, I pray this goes on, so we'll have another vote for president in 4 years.
And that's our show. Thank you for joining us. I'm Thomas Manglona, reporting on Saipan.